Yes, my name is Ross Pamment. My role is Generation Technician Mechanical, which means I look after all the turbines, operation, maintenance, anything else I require, all the workshop work. I've been working at Coleridge now for 10 years, and I've actually been in the business for 34 years. I've actually now earned the title officially of the old bastard of Coleridge, because all the other staff are a lot younger than me, and it works out well. I'm actually quite proud to be part of Coleridge. As I call the machines, they're my girls, the old girls. And I was taught the way of go down and stand and listen to them, put your hands on them, feel them, feel the vibration, listen to the noise. Try and teach the younger fellas too to walk down, don't rely on the computer. It'll tell you one thing, your instinct will tell you another. So you must go down and do that. They really do react to a lot of love and care. Because of being 100 years old, they don't like stopping and starting quickly. They just like to be put online and stay there. And it takes the skill of operators like myself and the other guys, the new fellas, to really make sure they keep going, and they will keep going. For me, in terms of Coleridge, the old girl, she's going to keep going. We're going to make more improvements on it. We as staff will work on those improvements, and we'll put our best effort forward to make sure it works. And I think that'll follow on to all the younger guys as well, and they'll appreciate it. And they'll then take pride in their work, and they'll look after the old girls as well. So when I come back after my retirement, I expect to see those old girls there with my paint colours of blue, orange and yellow, even though some of them hate it. It brightens up the place from the good old days of government green. I think they must have bought about 2,500 barrels of that paint, because it's everywhere. I forget what colour it is called, but it was a standard government colour. It's terrible. Absolutely bloody terrible. All the machines actually have systems which monitor the oil, the temperatures, the flows, water flows, oil flows. Any one of those changes, we have what we call trip levels. And then if it exceeds that, you have alarm levels, trip levels. So it exceeds the alarm level, you get an alarm. If it exceeds that, it will trip the machine. And it trips it in a way that shuts it down very safely. And they worked really well during the earthquake, 2010 earthquake. That all our seismic gear took over and shut all our intake gates, our head gates, inlet valves, machines all shut down because of the seismic switching. So when we got here that morning, which would have been, I think Neil was here around about 6 o'clock. I was on my way at about 5:30, going to pick up a generator because we knew we had no power and we had to get things working. We did the walk of the penstocks to make sure nothing had moved. We had to look around all the turbines and checked, double checked, and went and put portable generator up and got power going, got gates lifted, got everything else going so we could actually have the power going. And we had it running at 3:30 in the afternoon. All everybody thought about was the people that didn't have power. And that's what we did. I think 4 of us turned up and just made sure that by the time we'd left that day, everything was running. So when they got the systems working in Christchurch, we were pumping electricity in. And even the people in the local area could have their electricity again. And that's why a lot of people that work for here, you could say you could look after yourself, but most of us think of the other person or the other people in the area first. That's our job. We have to look after the customer. And that's why we do it. It is hard. We were all here during the February earthquake, having a meeting when it started, and we had one gentleman from Otago who had never experienced a large earthquake. So it's quite funny to see his look on his face. We had a young apprentice at the time. He was our earthquake sensor. When he was going past you at 100 miles an hour and out through the front door, you knew there was an earthquake, even though you didn't feel it. He had an instinct for it. He really hated them. But that only made the group, I believe, get sort of closer and stronger because of those earthquakes. We just carried on, just soldiered on for the people. During winter times, when we have had good heavy snows, we can be here and we can find the fault in the line. There was 2 of us that had the ability to go and isolate line breakers out on the Orion lines, and we can isolate that and get one of the machines going. And while everybody else further out in the regions is without power, the little village of Coleridge will have its light shining. And it's probably looking quite strange out in the middle of the mountains to see street lights and house lights, and because one old power station is taking over one machine just to keep us going, which is very, very good for the area, and I know the locals appreciate it. So apart from supplying power for the farmers and their machinery, we're now supplying water for irrigation. So it's a twofold place now. It becomes very, very important for Trust Power in terms of putting water down the river for the irrigators. So for those of us here, we now have to think laterally, not only producing electricity, but we're also using the water for putting it out for irrigation. We help out the community in a way that the fundraising goes back into the community, goes back into the school, goes back into the hall, and anything else they require. And it just sort of drags people out here. And today, for our 100-year anniversary, we're expecting 3,500 to 4,000 people. Now that's a lot of people for this little area, which means, you know, they're all paying $10 each, or even if they get 2,000 adults and 2,000 kids, that money is great for this community, because you see the volunteers of the community group, the Karens and the Lynns, the Hughes and the Janets, they're the ones that make up our community. They really do make it. And without them, we wouldn't be what we are. You know, we're actually made to feel part of the community, even though none of us live here. We just know them all, they know us. And so you can be driving home at night time and you'll get the wave as you go past the farmer standing on the side of the road. And you'll stop and have to have a yak about something that's going to happen. Or, you know, you have a talk of what's happening in the day or what they've been up to. You know. When they're shifting a mob of sheep, you just sit behind them and wait. You know, if you're only shifting at 100 metres, why drive through them? You're allowed to stop and talk to the locals to find out what's going on in the community. And that's really a good part about it.